Do you see any resemblance? This is my Poppet for me. The hair is a little bit darker than mine, but still, this is my Poppet for me that I made, and today I'm going to be talking about her. So she is really good for spellcrafting, and first I'll give you a quick rundown of how I put her together, and then I'll tell you how you can use a Poppet that you've made yourself. Buckle up, Witchlings, we're going to have a fun day today. Like and subscribe! Okay, Witchlings, let's start at the top. So here on the top I have yarn, and to infuse it with a bit of me, I also added on the blue yarn, I put a little bit of the dye that I use in my hair on it. It didn't stick quite as well, probably because it's yarn, but it worked out pretty cool. So what I did is I just took the straight up normal yarn and I tied a ton of strands together so I could have it cover the whole head. And then I just like tore it apart. So like each little yarn, you just rip the yarn pieces apart so that it's each yarn piece individually. And then I used a hair straightener to try to get it more straight. Now I will say I need to straighten it again because you can still see some of the yarn bits here. But it turned out pretty good. I mean, my natural hair has a little bit of texture in it. So there's my head. And next, for the makeup to have it connect with myself, I used some of my own makeup in my favorite palettes to draw on the eye makeup. Still got pink cheeks like me. Alright, next, for the body, I still probably will put in some more things that identify with me. So I have a tattoo on my back and I have a little mole on my chest, and I'll probably add that. But in the meantime, works pretty good so far. So for construction on starting at the head, I'll refer over to my little notebook. So for the head, what I did is I had 2 circles like this, and this works for the chest too. I think they were pretty much the same size. The chest might have been slightly bigger than the head, but you start out with a circle, you just take a little chunk out of it, and then you just sew it together. If you stop sewing this part together before you assemble, that's how I added my pocket, which I'll show you in a second. So the same was true for the head as the chest. This is the pattern that I used. And now I'll show you the pocket on the head. Back here, you'll see that there's a little pocket in here. And right now I do have a gem inside for myself. So I have a purple one with some weight on it for the top 2 chakra, for the third eye, and for the crown chakra. Oh, and I also used red thread to symbolize blood. I did use a little bit of my blood in here. Okay, so next I guess I'll do the arms. They were pretty easy. I just made a couple tubes like this. And to be fair, I think I made it way simple. You can see that because I didn't do much planning on it, it did twist. But to be fair, it's kind of cool. I like it. It's got a little twist in it. And then to attach them, I just used a single thread to go all the way through. So it's just one thread that goes from one arm to the other arm so that they can move. So they got a little bit of mobility here. So the chest next, I do have a little pocket in here too, but I did the same thing I did with the head, which was 2 spheres attached to each other. And then to give structure from here, like the hips to the head, I do have a pencil in there. So I put half of a pencil through the whole body to give it a little bit more ability to sit up on its own like this. For the hips, I used a pattern like this, but what I did is I turned it. So I sewed these 2 sides together, and then I had the seam in the front. So it'll be more like a belly button. And then I pushed the 2 sides together so that I could make the section to attach the legs. And then also this part is open, that allowed for the pocket. For the legs, I did want them to be very thick. So I have kind of a curvy pattern that I used, and I did just wing this. I don't know that most people would want to wing it, but I did. So I just kind of winged it. So I'll get under here now. So underneath my cute dress, you can see my hips here. I got a little natural belly button there. That was from sewing the pencil on. And then I have my thick legs, because I got some cool thick legs. And then I did put beans in here, in the foot to give it weight, and I put beans in the hips to give that weight also, so that my butt is a little bit heavier. But here's the pocket. Mostly the pockets are blue, but I accidentally sewed it inside out, but it kind of worked because, you know, It's the right color. And then if you can tell, there's some blue splotching here. And what I did is I washed the body with hibiscus and some other teas just to give it more energy. But I did not know this. Hibiscus actually oxidizes blue instead of red. So it's got a slightly blue tinge, but that's okay. I think it adds a little character, makes it look a little bit more like I've used it for multiple spells. So the only spells I've used it for is to dedicate it, basically. So to connect this with myself, inside of here, I have my hair, so like the hair that comes out when you're in the shower. I have feathers that are from a down comforter I had since I was a little girl. It did rip, so I used some of the down feathers to fluff it out. I added fingernails in the tips of the fingers. I added toenails in the tips of the feet. And I did try to add a little bit of blood when it was reasonable to do so. So I did end up adding eyes, and I think they're pretty cool. My little, like, I'm getting old nose crease, I think is a little bit bold right now. I'll probably wash that down a little bit. But yeah, I like that seam on the nose. I did add a little nose in my pattern too, you can see. Okay, Witchlings, it's time to jump into how to do the spells. Like and subscribe. Let's get our clothes off and start casting spells. Here we are, ready to go. Pretty much any spell that you can cast on yourself, you can cast on your doll, because your doll is the essence of yourself and it gives you a point to focus on. So let's say that you just wanted to have a little bit more energy, or you're needing a protection for the day. So you could just make yourself a little ball of energy in your hand and then just put it inside yourself and give yourself a little bit of boost of energy. And then it doesn't take as long to charge it because it's a smaller piece, and also it helps you to direct your energy a little bit better, to visualize it going into yourself through the doll, because it's not as intimidating as having energy fill your whole body. You could think about it going up as a barrier around yourself, like a bubble, so it's kind of like a bubble to protect yourself all day long. I'll just take that energy back if you don't mind, because we're not doing that right now. Cool. So another one that I've been doing, if let's say I want to do some work in the astral, I will go into my head pocket here, and I will put inside of it a corresponding crystal. So the other day I wanted to do some work in the astral and I needed help with my third eye for visualization. So I got myself just a little corresponding color, popped it in there. I made myself a tea, and I had her sit over the teacup as it was steeping. Here's our sample tea. So we're gonna put the tea in our own lap and we're going to let it steep around us. So as the steam comes up, our self gets to enjoy the steeping tea. And once it's done steeping, we can actually drink it ourselves. So not only do we get to be there for the whole ritual of steeping the tea while doing other acts or whatever you need to do for the day, but we get to be there for it, and we also get to consume it with our own bodies as well. Tea. The pockets are really useful because you can use it to help with pretty much any ailment. So let's say I'm having bad menstrual cramps, so I can give myself here a rose quartz inside, and then maybe I could also add myself some chocolate for comfort. So then I have all these comfort powers within me. And then next, what I can do to help myself feel more comforted is I can wrap myself up to be more calm. So I can wrap myself up in a blankie. So I'm giving myself self-care. Even if I have to like go work or run to the grocery store, I am still visualizing myself being calm, being collected, and being well cared for and cozy. So I can help my whole body feel cozy, even if I have to leave my altar, even if I can't actually be cozy in bed. This works if you're having a bad anxiety day. You could give yourself a weighted blanket. You can give yourself very cozy attire, even when it's hot out, and still get that feeling of being protected, of being safe, but without having to put it on your actual body. Another idea is you can use your runes to give yourself a talisman for the day. Okay, so here's strength. We could give strength to ourselves overall by just placing it on ourselves. Like there, we could just hold it. We could just hold strength. we could put strength in our hands. So we can just set the strength there, or we can tie it onto our hands so that we have strong work ethic for the day. We could put strength in our pocket in our chest. If we knew it was going to be a hard day for us physically or emotionally, we could put it in here to make sure that our heart is strong, or that, let's say, our stomach chakra is strong. Pop it in there. And that's something that you can't really do, is physically put the stones inside of yourself. So if you add it to your Poppet or your doll baby, then you're still getting that within yourself. That strength is inside of you, but it's not physically inside of your body. It's physically inside of your projected body. Hey. Another thing that I've been doing is, if I had a friend that I made a piece of magical artwork for, but I wasn't able to bring it to her on that day. So rather than having it under my pillow, which would be very delicate and difficult to do with a piece of artwork, I put it in my arms through the doll baby. So I just put it in my arms like this, and that way I am giving it my energy all night long while it waits to go to its final destination. It is still being charged. I am still here with it, and I am still feeding it. Another thing you could do is, if you have a card that is embodying something that you need to have for the day, like for instance temperance, rather than having it sit up at your desk, which you could totally do if you're in a place where that's not something you can do at your workplace, you could always give it to your doll baby, and they can soak up the temperance for you through the day, so that you know that you have it. You are with temperance, and it is dear to you on this day. So something like that. Just give it a nice hug. Hug that temperance. Another thing I've been doing between you and I is, if I really want to hang out with my kids and I just can't because I have to go to work, I will sit this in the room and feel like I'm there and feel like I can hear them, and I can watch them play and giggle. But they don't seem creeped out by it yet. We'll see as they get older if it creeps them out. But that way I get to kind of chill with them and just enjoy their presence even when I can't be there because I have to go to work. So this was one of my quarantine projects. If you guys are interested in doing something like this, totally hit me up. You can send me an email. I have my email address listed in my description. Or you can always send me a direct message on Instagram, which is magick.melangle, same as the channel name. You can also check me on Amino. I am there under Melangle. I should specify which Amino. Pagans and witches Amino. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at how I use my doll baby and a little bit about how I made it. If you need any tips, I'm here for you because I love you. I hope you are all safe and well and able to keep your mental health up during this quarantine. I know it's been very difficult for me. There are moments where I just cry, which is totally understandable. Sometimes I'm super productive and sometimes I'm not at all, and it's a-okay, and you guys are okay too. Be safe, be well, and I love you, witchlings. Have a magical day.